Hey friends, hopefully that improves. I asked Azalea to get the what you call it, the router reset, and if that doesn't help, then maybe I'll just come back another day. I'll come back when we have a little bit better internet. Sometimes when you're in the mountains, I don't know if there's a storm coming or what, but occasionally that happens. Sometimes you get a problem where you don't really have any say in the matter as far as having the proper internet solution. I am making, while I sit here and wait for some folks to jump back on to this stream, I am stringing the way I was stringing on the airplane, which is all the beads in a bag. They're not in a bag now. I dumped them into a bowl. All right, it's clear and audible, says Kate. Oh, okay, now that must have been the problem. So sorry about that. We have what I call mountain internet, and it's occasionally very glitchy and unpleasant. So I am hopeful that it lasts. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding beads to my strand. This is what I have. I should probably stop because I don't want it to be so long that I can't make this, it'd be hard to knot. I mean, the longer you have the strand, the more difficult it is to make a necklace. And sorry if I'm looking all over and not into what I'm thinking is your face, because there are so many cameras in here that we're trying to work with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and shift this over to the face down camera. Right, let's see if I can get this going. I'm going to show you my necklace that I was working on. Feels like every time we get on the internet, I am not tech savvy. And so, you ready? Oh, is it doing its thing? Are you ready to switch? Yeah, let's switch it. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is what I have so far. This is my, boy, that made a tangled mess on that. That's okay. I'll just take that thing off. And I'll show a little bit of it. So I had my beads, they were in that big bag, and this is what happened. Usually I don't do this to myself. I like them organized, but I just grabbed colors that I liked from previous kits that I hadn't gotten around to making yet. And you probably recognize some of these are from kits that we've done before. And like I got a couple of those. Some of them, All right. So I strung everything, see? So it might be a little too long to handle with any. Sometimes it gets jumbled, and that can make it really difficult to knot. So when I'm knotting, what I usually like to do is only have like one sort of length of necklace. I'm just going to do a few here and then show you some other things. Zoe said it's too much show and tell. It's my favorite part, is the show and tell. All right. There's one. Oh, I'm on the thing. I'm looking in the wrong place. Okay. Here's the second knot. Unfortunately, this is the easy part, I feel like. Once you have them strung, it's pretty easy. Although sometimes teaching this can be a bit of a struggle if a person's used to the other way of using that knotty tool, or it's like a pearl knotter, I guess. Donna says back the camera up. Okay, I'm going to do it. Let's see. All right. I'm zoomed in a little close, yeah. All right. Or I could do this. I just might be too close in general. I put this thing under because I'm used to that. That's a little bit better. And I need to get back on so I can see what's happening in the world. Hello. Thank you. We're back on. That was kind of stressful. We had a moment of panic. I don't know if that's ever happened to other folks, but I am not great with technology. When we were at San Juan Bautista, we did not get any of the internet to work. But I don't think that was us that time. Oh, Katney says, I watched another lady do the nodding and she made it complicated. Well, it can be if you try to measure out and cut, which was the old way of learning, the way I was taught. I found that I had a lot of problems getting at the right length. And so I scoured the internet and I couldn't find anything with the way that I wanted to do it with 2 knots. So I came up with this way. I feel like I did because I couldn't find it on anyone else's channel or any other videos on it. So I feel like that was my contribution to the knotting world, was gluing the ends together and knotting this way. This way you don't have to cut. I have these are over here. This is the whole thing. There's a little bit of a snafu right here I'm going to have to deal with at some point, which will not be too bad if I don't tighten it. If you get this problem, the best way to do it is just to keep it loose and no hard pulling. Because if you do, sometimes they'll get, even though I have these things to keep them, I have these to keep them from getting tangled up. Sometimes they will, inevitably. They come undone on the plane. So that wasn't too bad. This one is too long, so I'm going to try and tie that up a little bit. And if you come to a part where you see this, it's starting to look like, you see it's kind of a little bit of a knot forming. Do not pull. Just keep it loose. And just sort of, as soon as you feel it, if there's a tight spot, I just keep it loose like that. And I'll just keep it on that side. Put it right there. And so you just move your thread down. Okay. So we're back on with this knot. So this is very easy to do on the plane. And it was funny because I've taught many a stewardess and anybody on my road, it was like, hey, how does that work? And it's like an impromptu knotting lesson. And I'm pleased to say that I have turned many people onto beading while taking this with me. It's one of my favorite activities. I was kind of ill-prepared with that, so I just put it in a bag. Usually I have them in a nice little container with all the beads separated. But it was getting really heavy. So you can see my color palette has shifted. This here is more of a rainbow type, and then I have it on more of a neutral sort of kind of way. All right, I turn the sound down. Oh yeah, straight pinning the knot and shaking it. Yeah. Oh good. Clem says I've become. Let me try to see if I can highlight that while I'm doing this. Clem says I've become a knotting addict ever since I learned your method. Great, I have too. You know what? I love knotting now. I did not love it for years, and I avoided it because I could not make them where I was not either too short, like my necklaces, or too short to fit around my neck, and then I would just give up. And I have a bunch of samples where there's like this much thread left. It was extremely annoying. So this is kind of a neutral palette. Neutral, shifting to like a gray. I think it's like this. Let's see, how long do I want that? Usually I'll do where I put it around my neck and I'll see how I like the fit. I think I stopped it right about, let's see, this is about half. Oh no, I think I stopped it right here for the amount for that side. Maybe. Hard to say. I might not even, if you don't like what you've done, you can always stop, say, because this I feel like works to about here for this necklace. I don't like them when they're too long because then they get really heavy. So, maybe like that. Starting off so that the front of the necklace is kind of like this earth tone, and then the rest we have a little bit more saturation and color. Oh, we've had Clem's comment on there for a long time. Now, how do I make it come off? Oh, have you done a graduated turquoise knotted necklace? Yes, I have done that, Katney. Yes, and it looks beautiful, especially if you get a really good color of thread. So I'm going to do a little bit more. I love these moonstones. They're like kind of a chocolatey brown moonstone. Yeah, Sheree says, when you're making a necklace and it kinks up, it's not funny. Extremely. So, oh, thank you, Bonnie. She says, I learned knotting with the silk cards, but now I only use the Cynthia technique. Thank you. I like to hear that. It makes it fun, I feel like, because you know what? You could put this in your bag, just like I did. I had it in a silicone bag and took it right on the plane. And you don't even, you know what? I don't even really, the tools I need for it are like a cutter and, I used to use a lighter, but now I have a thread burner, so I don't even need that. So this is what I used to cut it. But usually I wait till I'm at a really stable point because I don't want to accidentally cut it too short or like burn, somewhere where I don't want to. The bonus of this is that it's threaded on with two threads, and periodically I'll stretch it. Now you can use this. I've seen people say, hey, can you only use nylon? No, you can use any thread, but I just prefer nylon because it is very difficult to break. I have necklaces that I've been wearing for a very long time, and I have not had them break or anything. Obviously, if you have really sharp metal beads or stone beads, it wears away, then it'll break. But if you just wear it normally, it should be no problem. Oh, Bonnie, the thread burners can be found with beadshop.com. Oh, Tina says I should have learned that last year on my trip to Ghana. Yeah, you could have, and then you can go bead shopping. And then, you could knock all those beads. But you know what you'd have to use is like macrame cord because those have massive holes. It comes in all different textures and colors, but I still would use nylon because I feel like it's the strongest. Even though they say silk is the most natural, the strongest of the natural fibers, I'm sure it is, but I find that it sometimes stretches. So if I'm using silk, and I'm also thrifty with it, silk I feel like is beautiful and luxurious, and I want to use it as a decorative element. Like if you're making, say, a pendant on a mala, I'll do a whole necklace and then do another like addition, or the tassel will be silk because that's kind of It's like shine. It's the time for it to shine. It's like if you're gonna knot it, if you put it inside the middle, you can't even really tell. So it could be any material. I've used Kevlar. That was kind of interesting. And then I took it apart because y'all know Nakia Angel. She came up to me in Tucson. She goes, Cynthia, Kevlar will disintegrate. I don't know if that's a very good impersonation of Nakia, but she was like, and I was like, it's Kevlar. How can that be? She goes, it just breaks down. And I was like, so are you saying that the Kevlar vest, because that's what this thread is just for sewing, will eventually just come apart? She goes, they have to be repaired. And then I felt disgusted. So because I haven't had to do that with any of my nylon necklaces. So there's a pro and con to every material. So as you can see, you can be cooking along with this. I'll probably finish this in no time. And the bonus thing is you'll probably see the other good thing is that I don't have any gaps. That's my other favorite thing. There's no gaps here. Tina says, can you talk it through? Speaking instructions, please. Sure. All right. Kathy says, could you go slower when you put your fingers? Okay, I could do that. You know, when you start going quick, it's easy to just sit there and take and go in the rhythm. So I'm going to slide. These are all pre-strung. They're on the spool. No thread was cut. So I'm going to leave that there so y'all can see that. All right. So I started from this end. I left this tail, and I leave the tail so it's plenty long enough to either add more. This is 2 threads that have been glued together with fray chuck. I put the fray chuck down. I don't see it now. But anyway, oh, right here it is. So this is the fray chuck I was talking about. This is, I know that there's other materials. You can use anything that is alcohol based because this gets hard when it dries. You can't use wax or, spit or anything like that because that's limp. And you don't want limp because the limp you'll be trying to fit it through the bead holes and it just squashes right against it. It doesn't go through. So I did these knots a simple overhand basic knot. All right, I'm going to go take this slow. So I'm on this part. I'm going to go slow for you. I'm going to slide this apatite bead down, right? Slide. I'm pinching it off right here to keep it from moving. So then you flip your hand over as you're holding this bead in place. Grab the thread, both threads, make a loop, then dunk them all through. And I use my fingers here to open up the loop. And also it keeps the knot, this is the knot that I've just made. It keeps your knot from sliding past the bead onto this. So right there is I have the knot in my hand between my 2 fingers. Then what I like to do is use these 2 fingers to hold it in place and collapse the knot just like that. So I don't need a tool, but you can use a tool if you're not very confident with it. But while I'm pulling, I'm also grabbing these 2 and getting ready to divide those threads up. Just like so. And so look at that. There's not, you can even, so as you separate it like that, it goes right up against the bead. There you go. Okay, I'll show it again. And then I'll pinch it and, do this, stretch it. This is one of the most drapey ways, fluid ways to get a beautiful knotted piece. So there's a lot of different ways to knot. This is just one way. This is my favorite way because it's easy to travel with and I don't need any tools. So slide your bead down, just like that. Pin it in place with your thumb and forefinger. Flip your hand over, index finger in between, hold the thread. See the thread that's holding it. Otherwise, it's kind of loosey-goosey. So you hold it in place, pull, turn to make a loop. This is the knot we're making right here. This is your knot. You put all the beads through. If you put your fingers between that to open it, they just fall right through, just like that. So the more beads you have on this part, the more clunky it can be. So that's why I was saying sometimes you don't want to make it like massively long necklace. Then I'm holding the loop open, which is also the knot. And as I slowly pull that down, my fingers here are holding it so the knot or loop doesn't slide way up here. And then as that's sliding, I'm opening the knot, you see? And there's no real need for an awl. Also, you can't get an awl on the plank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they take that immediately because that's essentially a shiv. So, and then I usually push the bead like this. That keeps it tight. And then pull a little, keep it fluid, and you will see right away if you have any gaps. But I've been talking and chatting and just doing, and you can see there's no kink, or I mean not kink, gap, which is when it's like a loose tooth and it's like sliding around. The bonus of having two strands is you don't have to worry about that. If you could fit it, you could go 4 strands, you could do 3 strands. As many will go through this, and then you just get bigger and bigger knots. So turn and poke your fingers in the hole to keep it wide, just like that. Pull all through, and see how I slid that down just like that? I'm holding it, and then I come in with this hand and keep it from collapsing, just like this. And then when I get down to this part, split. Now, if you pre-tighten it and it's gappy, you can go in with like a pin or something. And then pull it to make sure it's steady. Do another one, slide that bead down, grab it here, like a kind of a little chokehold, little mini chokehold. Flip, turn, and dunk it through. Pull everybody through. Pull the whole train through. Oh yeah, and Katney, I've been going kind of slow. You should see when I'm just sitting there doing it. It's like
You should show us.
it becomes a meditation. All right, normal speed. Here's normal speed. It would be even better if my hands weren't kind of sweaty from being in the studio. But when they're a little bit sweaty, it kind of makes the strands stick together. So it's a little slower than usual. Yeah, if this was a bracelet, exactly, this would totally be done. It's fat. You could do this with pearls.
I was thinking that just now.
The only thing is you have with pearls, the one thing that is not good is that sometimes pearls have a very small hole. And if that's the case, then you could use a smaller gauge of thread, like a microcord would work. So it just goes pretty quick. Very, very satisfying. It's one of my most favorite beading techniques. Although, when I was at the retreat over the weekend, we were like, not this weekend, but last weekend, I was kind of renewing my love for seed beads by seeing everybody work on seed bead projects. It was pretty fun. I love this bead. Isn't that really pretty? I feel like this kind of necklace really showcases fancy and pretty beads that you want to kind of showcase. Because this, I will use different sizes all around the necklace so that I could use the clasp in the front or the back. If you use a clasp that has a good balance to it, then it's like there's no front or back. So I have several. The one I gave to Kate had like there's pinks and greens on one side, or pink on one side and green on the other. So depending on the top you're wearing, you can flip it around. And if it flips, it looks fine. It's not like obviously like, oh, your thing is on the. Marion says, are the beads pre-strung on both strands? Yes, there are 2 strands here, Marion.
You need to release a class like you did for crochet kit.
And then Kathy says, did it take you long to perfect this technique? It was a lot of trial and error because I was getting kind of frustrated. I knew that I wanted to make knotted necklaces because I love the look and I love a mala, especially ones that feature really extra super fancy beads. I'll show you my mala that I bought several years ago in Tucson. And I was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. Okay, so this is one by a designer that I love in Tucson. This, I don't even want to think about how much it set me back. But this is what inspired it. So this is a one. I'm gonna have to redo it because look, there's a big gap between. See how it's kind of like a loose tooth. So these are hand carved abalone bees. This was not a cheap date right here, yo. I could not resell this because it was already really expensive. So isn't that beautiful? But then this is what I was talking about with a tassel. So if you were to do a tassel, this is the place I would use that silk on because that would be ultra luxurious. This is not silk. This feels like, I don't know, it feels like nylon to me. But if I were to use my silk thread, this is where I would do it. If you have that beautiful silk cord from Kate, they carry it, and it's like this thick, in all different colors, like 12 colors. You could make the most luxurious tassels that would be so gorgeous. So let's see. All right, so I'm about halfway done. About halfway, I think. I don't know. Feel like I could keep going and going. I'm at this tourmaline, so I'm gonna see how that looks. All right, I see a comment here. Katney says, I like how, let me click on it, how you were talking before about threading with intention. It really adds a personal touch and heart to your work. I feel like a person can sense it when they see your work. Thank you, Katney. That's nice. All right. This last one. I'm going to move on to showing you some of the other things that we were getting busy with. It was really fun being at that retreat. Kind of like, I don't know, not having the internet was kind of awesome to be 100% clear. Even though it was kind of a drag, it was kind of nice to just be like, well, I guess there's no internet. We were disconnected. And we went on walks, and the best part was hanging out with all the creative people. That is the best right there. Even if you're not even in a class and you're just together, I feel like that's where magic happens, is being in the same room with creative people. It's like the universe is aligning for that. All the creative energy. I get so many good ideas. It's actually pretty wonderful. All right, I'm about halfway done. Actually, I think, I love a 20-inch necklace to be right at, it's almost like a choker, a little longer than a choker. I feel like it's a really good length. Sometimes when it gets long, it can feel like it's almost like it's like a penitence. Like you're suffering. So I've now made them much shorter. But depending on the length and the weight of the beads, I'm very aware now because I used to just make them as long. I put everything on there, and like this is one of the necklaces I wear all the time. This is one of my favorites, but it's real long. Like and I will switch it around so that the moon clasp is on the side, and so like this is in the front, or like this is in the front. But it hangs down pretty far on my necklace. Oh, Clem says, what's that big bowl of purple goodness in the corner of the screen? This is actually, this is called, I don't know if anybody would like this, but I'll get more if there's interest. This is called Super, I think it's like Super 20 or something like that. It's when you have a bunch of different minerals growing together. And it's kind of looks like a foggy sort of amethyst, but if you look at it in the light, there's like sunstone flashing and brown colors flashing. It's not cheap though. It's kind of an expensive stone. It's like, what is it, 110 for that? So you can imagine I didn't get it in bulk because it was just a lot. And there, I had these before. I got the last ones, and I kept the ones that were imperfect. All the ones I put in the kit were perfect. Oh, Allison says, Auralite 23. That might be. That might be the one. I'm not 100%. I'd have to go look for the invoice and find out
Pretty sure it
exactly.
was Super 27 or Super 23.
They called it super something. The Aura White might be a little bit different. The thing is a lot of these stones will have a trade name that people will just decide together. They'll be like, oh, we'll have a nice, pretty name for this. And it has like a mineral name. And a lot of times, some of those minerals are kind of random and there are not a lot of it. So they'll make a pretty name for something that has a name like duormorite or something. You're like, what is that? They look for, try to make it more palatable instead of the mineral name, which is usually a Latin derivative. So if I were to wear this, you could wear it any direction. Love these stones. Can't wait to show you this kit that I made. I found some things. So I have a big collection of beads. And sometimes I don't want to say hoarder because it's not really hoarding if it's a curated collection, right? Wouldn't that be a better way of saying it? Oh, so Pat says cacoxenite is Super 7. I guess they found more. Well, I don't know if it's that because Super 7 has a little bit different look. The Super 7 I have looks more like garnet to me. Like it's swirly with a lot of purple and black with flashes of yellow. That was pretty popular at the show last season. And since I want to look more into it, because sometimes, I got on that train with selenite and then I didn't realize that it was really soft. And then when I got some home, that stuff was chipping all over the place. And I was like, well, shoot, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have maybe bought so much of it. So I like to get a little bit and wear it around and see if it's super soft or, I don't want to get something and then it's like easily broken, which that selenite
Falling off your neck.
was super soft. And I was like, when I first got it, it was beautiful and had that look of like the nicest moonstone. But then I realized it's softer than, it's like mica practically. Oh, Marion says, love the term curated collection. Yeah, well, I have a curated collection of fabric, fibers, and beads, and art supplies. My friend Joanne and I, we were like, okay, so I have a lot of fabric, and we're going to set up a little booth. We were looking over at Sweeten Creek Antiques, and that's like an antique mall a few miles away. And I was like, I could set things up and just have my over amount of art supplies. Because they had a pretty inexpensive booth fee. It's like $175 for a 10 by 10 booth, which I was like, that's actually really reasonable, especially when I was paying $25 a foot at Art Garden. And then I had a lot of theft, so I didn't love the stories. So. They didn't have many cameras. But sometimes, you just try out places and see what fits. This is one of my all-time favorite stones, is this rose quartz with little pieces of mica. One time I found it with black tourmaline. There were little stripes going through it. And this is that Super 20 or whatever. We'll have to look it up. But see how it's kind of hazy? It's almost have like a little bit of a moonstone sheen to it. Marion says, how much thread do you leave on each end of the necklace? Well, I leave, what did you say? It's probably 8 inches maybe. Still has where I've glued it together. So if I have to add more, I can easily put it on. I don't chop till I've added the very last bead and my clasp, because you don't know when you're going to need it. You might say, oh, this is perfectly long enough, and then trim. And then you haven't added your clasp, and then you're trying to fight with put force in a clasp through like this much. That is not good. It is too much. All right. Oh, this is some of that. This is like that Super 8 that I found, and it's a very swirly, beautiful texture. Oh, I almost did a knot between there. I almost missed it. There, look at what I'm doing. I had these on a lot sale a few months ago, maybe more like 6 months ago, and I kept the remainders, and I love them. They're like little disco balls. So perfect. I bought all of it, and they sold really fast. I guess everybody else likes that story too. I was just reading retreat centers around Asheville because we had so many people at the retreat say, "Hey, Cynthia, hey, Azalea, you guys should consider having a retreat in Asheville." And we were like, "Yeah, maybe. It's really expensive." And so I started looking, and there are places, there's so many of them to start with. Not in Asheville, but more like 20 minutes outside of Asheville. And they're like, there are all these natural vortexes because apparently there's a lot of quartz to be found around here, which is true. You can find a lot of quartz. Oh, let me check how long this is. That might be long enough. Let me see. I'm going to put it up against my neck. What do you think, daughter? Two.
That's a length that I like.
Azalea likes that length. I feel like I could make it a tiny bit longer.
You can put it back on your neck and I can switch the camera so people can see.
Okay. A second. I have one more, but I want to leave room for a clasp. So you got to think, how long is your clasp going to be? And this one I'm making for myself.
Put it back on your neck. Let's show people. You can ask them what their opinion on the length.
All right. Okay, so that's where the ends are meeting and no clasp yet. So I have to factor in, depending on the length of the clasp, I usually like this length is my favorite. Right under the collarbone, right there is my favorite length. Because it seems like it's not too heavy. And if you're wearing a t-shirt, it hits right at the t-shirt length, right at the collar, so it just peeks out, you know. It looks good with a lot of different collars.
Very nice.
Yeah, so people are saying longer. Is that what I see? A little bit longer. So yeah, I agree. It needs about I feel like a couple inches, maybe like an inch and a half, and then add the clasp. But you can see that didn't take me very long to make. What is it, 37 minutes? I had all of those pre-strung. And I've been talking and showing slow-mos of it. But you can see when it starts to get longer, you're pulling that through. It can be a little fumbly if you get really long. But if you see how I have a pad underneath? You do not want to have it where your beads are clattering on the table, getting dinged up. You want to get it where it's something soft underneath to protect it. All right, I feel happy with that. Then I have enough. So if this wasn't long enough, so this might not be enough right here as long what I've already strung. Now, if that's the case, that's not a big deal because you know what I can do? As soon as I'm done tying this off and cutting, I leave a good long tail when I cut off, like at least 8 inches. Because you know, what if you want it longer? You can always add, but you can't, if you chop it too short, then you have to get creative with adding thread. So I think that's pretty good. Let me see what that looks like. So if the clasp's in the front, this is the look right there. All right. I feel like that because if you have the connection, let me see if I have a clasp handy. I took everything with me, so let's see. We'll pretend like this is my clasp. That's my connection point. And that's one way I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, how does that feel? I feel like that looks pretty good. So if this was in the front, it looks good. And sometimes you can add like a dangle to the end, or if you have jump rings, you can always add them at different spots. Like one of these popped in there like this on one side. I had a necklace that I made. I put them around at sporadic, at like every 4 inches. I put a little charm, and that was a different look, and it had a very antique feel, kind of like an amulet necklace from ages past. That was kind of the goal, and I used all like brass and or gold plate. That seemed to look really good. All right, I feel like that's pretty good. All right, how about we switch gears for a moment? Okay, I'm gonna show you how much I'm gonna cut off for this. So I feel like that's pretty good as far as my length. I added like 3 or 4 more beads to that. So when I cut it off, I'm gonna leave. Let's add a little bit more. I'm gonna show you what you do. So this is probably, I've got a little bit of a situation right here. So there's a tiny bit of a small loop that formed. The way to do it is not to pull, but to wiggle. You loosen up. Sometimes you can do one of these and roll it in your fingers like this, and that would kind of cause it to loosen up a little, and that helped. So it kind of loosened it up a little bit more. And see if I can pull that knot out just so gently. Yes, got it. All right, so they're on this. They're on here. And sometimes when you're knotting, see how it gets like this, a little bit tangled. Maybe a good idea to straighten them out a little bit. Put them along one side. Move your beads down. Okay, so I've got those beads down. No danger of them sliding off. This is not long enough for a necklace. So if that's the case, what I need to do, this is plenty long enough. I'm going to add about, let's see, let's measure that out. I like it to be kind of equal length. All right, we'll add this much, same as the tail. Cut. And I'll set that aside to wait for when it's time to put the clasp on. So with this, here's all you do. If you didn't see the beginning, and also I didn't show this in the beginning, so that's probably, you didn't see it because I didn't show it, but we'll show it now. So here's the thing that you do. Kalite, I'm thinking of you right now. And I'm thinking of Kate because she showed this before. So this is what I do. Not everyone likes this, but you can't put a glove on if you don't want it to touch your skin. It rolls off like rubber cement. So I put a little bit on my finger and I just roll it through like this. Roll that through just like that. Do it a few times. You don't want to do it too much because then you kind of rub the glue off. Okay, it needs another round. And you can do it a couple times. But you don't want to do it so that it's not enough. So you can tell if it kind of falls apart. And you don't want to do it too aggressively because then you're squeezing the glue off like a squeegee. So what happens next is I'll just leave it like this, dangle it over the edge of my table, and let it set. And if it's not stiff enough, you can go back around. And then you have these little, it's like rubber cement balls, and they just come off. They roll off like that. Now, that's not the same with that zap glue. If you get that on your fingers, you have to go in with acetone, which that's, for me, that's not, I don't love that story. So even though it dries very fast and you have the plastic, usually what ends up happening, because I've done this with Kate, it squeezes out the edge and gets on the side of my finger. Oh, I forgot this ring. I got this at one of the stops Joanne and I did yesterday. Isn't this ring so weird? Isn't that crazy? Look, it's got a little face on it. And I was looking at it, and I thought when I first saw it that it was a hedgehog ring. But then I noticed it had a little face. And look at this little sweet, weird surprise. It's got its little hands. And then look at this. This is so weird. It opens. It's a little poison ring. Isn't that weird? Anyway, I bought it. Pretty cute, huh? All right. So while that's sitting, let's show what we have for our live sale and see if you guys like what I made. Okay, so Azalea, do you want to start getting ready? I don't know if y'all are going to like this.
All the stuff is right there. You can just start showing it.
Okay, So this is a set that I put together with some of the beads that were in my collection. I have some high grade moonstone. I have some moss aquamarine. That's these drops. And what I like to do is there's no directions for this because it's more of an inspiration and it's things that I would use in a small collection of beads. I found the nicest things in here are this tourmaline, which is this. Got a bunch of those in there. So dig them out. Those are really super high quality tourmaline. They're pretty small, but they have a big hole. Let me see if I can get in there and show you how large that hole is for them. Very nice, large hole. So you could make earrings. There's also carved. This is a strawberry quartz. It's legit. It's not dyed. The strawberry quartz, they call it that because it has a little tiny fleck of, if you look very close, there's a fleck of, I don't know, what's that word? Not chrome dioxide. I can't think the word for it. Not chromium. There's another one, that flash in there. But it's the same type of mineral that's in sunstone that gives it that flash. So you can see it has that kind of luminous quality. They're very beautiful. And they're little pumpkin carved. Isn't that beautiful? So I only had enough to make 6 kits. This is pure fine silver. I made these probably 10, 15 years ago. And I kept them because, sometimes I like to have, I like it all for me. And they're little mermaids that I made. That's PMC. And the other thing is these big pink tourmalines that were in here. I've been saving those for a minute. And there's also some really nice flash of rainbow moonstone. That's the white that's in here. So this is all gemstone. There's no glass in this kit. And it should be enough to make earrings, at least one set, necklace set. If you did a crochet with the small, you could make, I would probably I would use the tourmalines in earrings and like as spacers. But plenty to, the lot number on this, sorry, it's kind of hard to see. It is 297, it's 130. That might seem like a lot, but this is all like the nicest stuff. All good quality stones. No, fire, I don't want to like dog anybody, but like not low quality. These are high quality. These came off, I bought a lot of these. These were by the weight, so I had to use, this was gram weight on all this. That's how these were sold to me. And the same with the tourmalines. So these are not, it's more expensive than our usual kits, but this is more like this, the material is a little bit nicer than you can usually get at that price. But we did get very good prices for that, so I passed that on to you. If you were to buy that, especially this is a little harder to find nowadays. If you look at that quality, they're very, very sparkly and have a rainbow flash in them. I've been hanging on to these for quite a while. My intention was to make threader earrings, just one on a drop, maybe like this. So if you make earrings, this is a fantastic one for earrings. So put that like that maybe, or like this. Moonstone with it because they're really flashy. They never look like much when you take them off the string, but that's just how it goes with beads. All right, where's my shovel? And by shovel, I mean my, what do you call that, scooper? See that scooper? No, I had it. Here you go. I hid it from myself. Yeah, so I only have 6. And I don't have room, I don't have any more of these beads to make another set. Yeah, look at there's some indicolite in there. I should have pointed that out. Indicolite is one of the most rare colors of tourmaline. So these, even though in this light, you can see it. That's that light teal blue. Some of them are bicolored. I looked at those for a long time because they were kind of pricey for the size, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy them for me. And so I did get them for me, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to share some of that. Yeah, this one's a bicolor. Isn't that pretty? That is top quality tourmaline. Very clear, not too many. Sometimes you get them where there's like a ton of black ones, but this is a super dark, like a beautiful dark green. It is a lovely mix. Thank you, Carolyn. And this is the type of thing I would carry with me on the plane. I did. I had a couple of my kits with just that. And I have them in this little screw top container so they don't pop apart. Nice and secure, but they will come. Azalea packages them up so they don't ding around. All right, so that was lot 297. If you're waiting on an order, just remember we've been gone for the past like 2 weeks, and there was no one here filling orders. It was just me and Azalea, and we didn't have that going on. So we are catching up like crazy. But I appreciate if we will combine any orders that are outstanding. All right, I'm gonna make some space here. Okay, we're returning to this. This is not stiff enough for my liking, so I'm gonna put one more coating and then I'll show the next lot. I know it's kind of all over the place tonight. I apologize. One day I'm gonna get it where it's not like 12 things happening. Azalea just sighed.
No, I hand sewed this whole thing and did not do pressing cloth.
Oh.
And now there's a big black smear from my iron on my thing that I just hand sewed.
Okay, let that dry. So that'll be ready to add more beads to this necklace. Okay, got a little bit of that stuff on my fingers. All right, moving along. See, I'll put this underneath. Okay, so are all these kits gone? It looks like they're probably gone. So if you're interested in, it looks like I have a few left. If you're interested, you can email at greengirlstudios@yahoo.com, and I will let you know the quantities left. And that's for this kit, $297. It comes with a fine silver pendant and a lovely mix of tourmaline, aqua, moss aquamarine, and moonstones, and pink tourmaline. All right, where's the rest of it? Okay, I'm going to put some more. I got a new batch of, I'm going to show this. Larimar. Is this the Larimar? Pretty, pretty, pretty. So, this is not a cheap date, but if you like Larimar, this is perfect time because I got a few strands of this the last time, and we picked out the most.
There was no few strands of it. One. There's only 4.
Well, I meant like there's this.
Yeah.
Marion says the case come with it. Yes, they are going to ship in this. That's how I like to store them so they don't go all over the place. And if I'm gonna be stringing somewhere, then I like to have it available. Okay, so this is $278, and it's Larimar. This is one of the stones that comes from the U.S. We see this when we go to Tucson. They sell it. The dealers out there sell big old chunks of it, and it usually comes in chunks of about I've seen it in chunks about like that. And a lot of times people will buy the rough and take it to their own cutting house. And the cutting houses are from, people can buy it, you buy it by the weight. And then, it's kind of a, you don't know what's on the inside, but you're hoping to get this. This is the good stuff right there. Some of it comes in, might all be white, but this is a really good, we found some that had the most blue parts, and some are kind of hazy, but they kind of have a mother of pearl look, so it's not just white. I don't know if the camera is picking that up, but they still have kind of like a moonstone kind of feel to them. These are kind of like juicy, like a little bit like a candy. That's a particularly good one. I would put this with my knotted necklaces. I did not put on any on that, but I would tuck that in if I were doing a rainbow mix. I would tuck those in right at the end, right there, next to that. I think that's pink opal. That looks like pink opal to me. So I would put that right in there. Look how pretty that would be. And knock that in place. So they have a real beautiful translucence to them. Just a really pretty landmark. Okay, so that's 278. If you're watching on replay, you can inquire Greengirlstudios at yahoo.com. All right, next thing. I'm trying and move a little quicker because I was talking a lot. Oh, I'll mix it up. Here's one of my old school eyes. I found this in my collection, and I've been waiting to put this in a necklace for a while. I only have the one. There's only one. This is a bronze coin from years past that I've been keeping in my collection. It's 40. But you know what? 281. This has a London blue topaz on it. I'm going to mark it down. I don't know if anyone's going to want it. 281. Let's say, right now, I'll say 36. That's actually less than I charged on my Etsy shop. So if you remember times past, that was on my Etsy shop. All right, next. If our friend Wendy is watching, I have these. I don't know if you like them, but I have them in my collection for my thread necklaces. I'm going to put them all out at once. My buddy that makes these is retiring, so I will not be able to get more. He has not said when. It's only a matter of time. He's getting up there in age. But these are hand carved. They're hand carved. They're a different way than my other friends that have carved them. This is a finer. These are using really, really good quality amber. All right, so these are the ones I have. Okay, this one is a different shape. They're all a little bit different. See, so this is 289. It is, let's see, or maybe Wendy has it at 284. That's I'll change that. Or Wendy, I think that's what you're talking about. This is 287, 288. All right, so 288. Can you see this, Azoya? I'm gonna show this and move this stuff out of the way.
What am I seeing? Yeah, I got you. I've been coming over here.
That was.
Yeah, I know. I got it. Don't worry.
I know, aren't they perfect?
They are so perfect. Maybe move them up a little bit more.
Oh, sorry.
So they're in frame.
All right, check out some of the details on that. This one I would put with the little details. And guess what? They're detailed on the other side. I have a few in my personal collection that I wear all the time. Their little legs have carving, and their little faces. So I high graded the heck out of these and picked the ones that had the best color and the best form and shape, and no like cracks or anything. I looked them over with my optivisors on. Azalea's like, "You're in public, Mom," and I was like, "Guess what?
All right,
I don't
let
care."
me see real quick. Pretty sure.
Yeah, check that one out. It's so cute. Its little body, it's
Which one
segmented
is-
and lip. Well, this looks like a 289. It says 289. It looks like 284.
So 289 is gone. That is a 289.
Yeah, well, Wendy's get that.
I saw that. I got her on there.
All right.
And then I think we have this one is gone. 287 and 288 are.
I do hoard them. I have one that's a bit bigger, but that one was like kind of a little bit of a fortune.
Okay, it
And
looks like this is the one that's left. That's
the big one.
288 is the only one that's left. This one's gone now. And that's
That's
the
okay.
last one.
Because if this
she's
one's
gonna
left,
keep it. 87 and 89 are gone.
I don't mind. I put them out, and sometimes that's how it goes. All right. So if you want this, before I put it back into my bead box in my collection,
It will never come back out of that juicy pouch again.
Well, you know what? I was gonna let Kate pick one, and she picked a different one. She picked a very small one for the present.
Oh.
One of her little presents. Okay, so now I'm gonna put some eyes out. We got a new batch of eyes. These are fun.
Yeah, you should
And
do.
So what I do
3 at a time.
usually, I have these out at shows, and I put them in a bowl, and I'm gonna put them all out so you can pick.
Let's just do 3 at a time so people don't get overwhelmed. Maybe 3 or 4 at a time, but we do have more. So you guys keep in mind we do have more.
So these are all a little
none of
bit.
them are the same. They're all
different because they're hand blown glass from a family that has been making these for like 3 generations. Because this technique, it's called the German lampwork. If there's any lamp workers out there, you know that they make this in a cane style. So I made my own eyes when I was doing doll eyes. It's kind of a pain to get them rounded off. So you'll see some of them, they're a little bit, they're not perfect. They're not like, what you call it, like the shape is not 100% circular, So, and they're all a little bit different. And when I was making them, man, boy, the iris was like way over here. I'm like, that takes some skill. It takes skill. Nowadays, they make them in a different way. I watched a video where they were painting them. So they make the glass part is like borosilicate, where it's tinted but slightly translucent and not 100% white like these. And they'll back paint it with these thread-like pieces so it looks like a real eye. It's incredible. These are done really well. This is a Millefiori where they make a cane, they stretch it out, make a cane, chop it, and then put another dollop on there. It's good work. So you can kind of see it from the side view. All right, let me show the next batch. Yeah, it's interesting. This color was usually used in icons. This was usually used for the angels. So if you ever see those large hand-carved wooden statues of saints and angels in Mexico, that's the color they usually reserved for the angels. Okay, we got a brown lot coming up. You know what? When we were at the show, this couple came up, and this guy was holding up these are the big ones, so they're at the 42 price month. Usually we have smaller ones at 38. These are just a little bit bigger. And you can see they're all a little tiny bit different. He held up each one to this gal's eye, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I just want to have your eye color with me always." And I was like, "Dude, that was smooth." I was impressed. This one is set in sterling, so it's more. You can see that. That's what the price reflects.
Oh, yeah, the sterling ones.
Oh, actually, this one is not going to be that much because that's plated. So that would be, actually, we put that one at 52. It's plated. All right, put those, and I have one more set. Okay, so this one, Pat wants this one, Azalea, 292.
I'll be in there in just a second.
I have one that matches my children's eyes. One more batch.
Pat, that would be brass and glass.
Mm-hmm.
She asked us if it's in bronze. It is a brass set.
Brass is a little bit different look than bronze. Bronze is more like we cast bronze here at Greengirlstudios. The difference is that they're a little bit, they alloy it a little bit differently to get the different coloration. Okay, you ready for next round? The only thing I like camo, I can't see if you go away. Wendy says they need some fake eyelashes. That would be kind of crazy. Kind of cool. Okay, this is the last batch of these eyes. We usually take these to shows and people put them on chains. We have a bunch of chains that we sell. If you're interested in a chain, you can always hit us up. And, you know, if you want a different kind of, we have finished chains. Okay, so this one, a nice dark brown. That's like, let me see your eye. That's like Azalea's eye right here.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll write down the numbers when I get back.
Okay, so that is $293 for this middle one, $295, and $286 for the dark brown. It's like exactly Azalea's eye color. This one I would like it to be my eye color. I feel like my eye color is changing. Isn't that weird? It used to be very, very dark, but as I get older, they seem like my eye color is getting lighter. Happened with my dad. His eye color was a cobalt blue. And as he got older, they kept shifting to almost this color. Like a weird green. It's kind of neat. All right, so for some of the last round of this, I have some cute things. I only have one left. This was a bigger one of those charms. I'm going to put it at 15. It's fine silver. I don't have any more, and I don't know that they even make PMC anymore, so I don't know if that's a thing. I haven't seen silver PMC in a long time. I don't think they make it. So this is one of those things that has a little bump. Doesn't affect anything. That was just one when I was making it. It has kind of a rainbow patina on it. That's $282. It's 15. If anyone's interested, they come in. If you want it, it's in the kit. Smaller version by like a few millimeters. It's a little hair smaller. The ones that are in the kit, they're almost all the same size. And that again, in case you did not see, this is $130 for this mix of tourmaline. That big one is a big pink tourmaline and moss aquamarine in there. So that's $297 for that kit. Okay, getting down to the last thing. So I had a lot of people ask me about this. I had it in my keep pile. So this is a sapphire set in a sterling cross. We cast this here. It's heavy. This would be, if no one picks it, I'm not putting it out again. It's going in my pocket. $120. It's $279. I know that sounds steep. That's a big, thick chunk of silver right there. And that took me some time to put that sapphire. My mouth was getting like tongue-tied and dry. So no one picked it. That's okay. All right. Now for my showstopper. Okay, get ready. You've seen this before, but I didn't have it for sale before. I was keeping it. But I have one, and I didn't want to be greedy. I did want to be greedy. But
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I did too.
Which one was 282 was an eye, right?
Yes. Okay. All right, so this is the last of the night. My darling.
That is the showstopper.
That's my showstopper. Greg carved this piece. I sold these in Tucson. There's a gal that has a gallery in Anchorage, Alaska that bought all of the ones I had. And she sold them at her store for $600. They didn't have eyes. They were just plain. So I'm selling this one right now because she put hers on a chain, mine. So this one, $280. This was a lot of work to make this.
Oh, that's the lot number, my mama.
280.
You put the price
Yeah.
at 150.
It's 150.
Oh,
and the lot number is 280.
The way you said it was like the price. It's not the lot number is 280, but the price is 150.
And so you string it right through the top.
That's a really good deal you're giving them on
I know.
That's a lot of weight in silver and hand-done sapphires.
I know.
That's very crazy.
I know.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah,
because I've never seen that.
I know. I usually sell them for way more.
That almost was my birthday present.
So if no one gets it, it will be Azalea's birthday present. All right. I don't see anything. Okay, daughter. All right. We didn't wait that long.
We did not actually wait that long.
We'll give it 10 minutes.
There's Tina.
Is that our friend Tina?
Tina, is that you? Is that my friend?
Azalea kept disappearing with Tina, and they were
me and Tina were hiding out, walking around, and doing our own thing, picking stuff up off the ground and picking random things off of trees and whatnot.
Good times. Let's switch it.
Looks like Tina wants that. Hi, Tina.
Hello, Tina, my friend.
We can switch the camera, but I'm going to write her down real quick because she wants this.
She picked it. Awesome. Switch the camera.
1 second. You can stall a little bit longer. You can stall longer.
Okay, I will stall.
Move that over.
You know what I'll show? I'm going to move this out of the way. Real fast. Actually,
it's okay. Yeah,
we're going back a minute. February 2004 was when our lives changed. Guess why? Let me show you why. I didn't know that they even did this until. It's not easy being green. Green Girl takes inventory from the beach of all things lost. This was so long ago, and they did this article on us, and it changed my world. My business skyrocketed, and we could not keep up. It was so awesome. So this was on the giveaway table at the retreat, and I didn't know this was on there. I didn't know that I didn't have this magazine, and I was so happy to finally get a copy because I thought I'd have to order it or something or ask a friend, but this was by our friend Debbie Mishahara wrote this. I don't think she's in the business anymore. I haven't seen her name pop up in a really long time, but this was it was a big deal for us. It changed our whole lives, and it was so awesome. It was just the best. The beaten button that directly happened, because I think, let me see what date it was, February, when that beaten button rolled around, we were so slammed. The people at the booth, it was 5 people deep. You could not approach the whole weekend. It was insane. It was such a good time. So anyway, let's flip it. Let's flip it and do the end of our show. All right, friends, thanks for hanging out with us and enduring through our horrendous technical difficulties with the internet. We eventually figured it out, and if you watch our replay, you can see how we do double thread knotting and how to make a needle from 2 strands. So that's what 2 passes of glue, the fray check, glued together. String all your beads on there. This is two spools of thread, and I'm going to add to this. So I strung a lot on here, a lot of beads. I was on the plane when I did this, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to go to this other color palette. So I did. Where'd that necklace go? Here it is. So I did this. Oh no, that's not it. That's just the beads. Oh, here it is. So I have this one that I did this evening, and here's the link. Once I add the clasp, it'll be all set to go. That's a good length for me, I think. T-shirt length. All right. Oh, Clem says, if you use a thread sapper, I suggest the use of a mask. The fumes are a bit much. Just a thought in case I'm using mine now. Yes, Clem, that's true. That is true. I usually go outside. I got a table out in the front, and I sit on the porch and I zap them, or with a fan, because it is kind of that melted smell of nylon is intense. Well, I wouldn't say intense, but if you have your face over it, you don't want it to sit there and breathe in. All right, friends, I'm going to put a clasp on this and I will show it on Wednesday. So thank you so much for all who joined us tonight. We really appreciate you all hanging out with us and putting up with our technical difficulties and just being present with us. It feels wonderful to spend this time with you. We hope that we can see you again on Wednesday and that you stay creative out there and keep making things, because that is what we are as humans meant to do. All right, friends, we will see you later. Love you all out there.
You can't do it on that one.
Oh, here I am trying to do it.
Yeah, gotta get used to this on the computer. Bye, everybody.
See you.